That's very funny. I pretty much just say the same thing. I just say I'm a bit of a mix. Both my parents are Sri Lankan. Was born in Rome, then I moved to London. It's very funny because I'm like British. I've got like different sides of me, where it's like a British side, Italian side, and a Sri Lankan side. Because it's like obviously I was born in Italy, lived there for 13 years, so I learned a lot about Italy. And then the teenage years I spent it in London, where I like when I speak now, people don't even like think about my Italian accent because I sound like I'm from London. So it's very funny. It's just a bit of a mix. Definitely a lot. Definitely very difficult. I can imagine when my father moved to Italy at first, at a very young age. It was difficult for him because he lived there by himself at first, and then he worked, and then he flew my mum over. So I can imagine those first few years being very difficult for him without knowing the language. And then once he finally got settled in, they decided to do that same switch again to London, where they couldn't speak the language. My dad did the same thing, where he flew to London, worked, and then he flew me, my mum over, and my little brother. So yeah, it's very inspiring in a way, seeing them doing all of this just for me and my brother, like deciding to change the countries again because they knew that I would be able to get a better education in London. And the change was definitely worth it, because I don't think I'll be doing what I'm doing now if I didn't move to London. Yes, of course. So July 1st, I'm going to be doing a run in Sri Lanka, which involves me running like a whole coastline of it. And the big thing that I'm working on is to create a documentary of showing myself connecting back with my roots to inspire other people like me that grew up abroad to connect back to their culture. Because when I visited Sri Lanka when I was 17, and it was a very big like wake up call for myself in terms of wanting to work more, do more stuff. And I came back, and that's when I realized that I needed to be doing more. And if I can give that wake up call to as many people as possible like me, and help them with the businesses that I want to build in the future. For example, I want to help people build more purpose driven type businesses. And if I can help people get that wake up call and give them all the frameworks to build purpose driven things, that's it's going to be an incredible thing. And I pretty much want to what I'm building, I don't want to keep it just for myself. I want to create in a way where anyone can do it. So the voice I wish I had is my sentence statement behind my content, the businesses that I'm building, and the run. It's a mission statement in a way. What would I tell my younger self? I would tell my younger self to follow their passions, to stop fitting in with everyone, and to be themselves. And obviously, I can't tell that to my younger self. So why not create that message for other people that can get value from it? And like a year ago, probably actually 2 years ago now, I would say, I decided to be the person that I didn't have growing up and live every single day by being that person. And that's when I started seeing my content change in the businesses that I want to build change. That's just when I started being a better person. And if I can be the person that I didn't have for others, I know that's going to be inspiring, because it's just sick having that purpose behind what I'm doing. I just made that number up, and I want to get to a level where it's even more than 5,000. I have a mission of inspiring billions with my personal brand, where it's for anyone that can relate to my message. And I know it's difficult to get into the billion stage just from the billions, so you got to start from somewhere small. And for me, that number is something small. After the run, I want to start doing like masterminds, retreats, where I bring people back into the island. And yeah, it's very exciting. That stage is what excites me a lot. That gives me goosebumps. So it's very funny. I talked a lot about uniting the island together, and I know it's a very sensitive topic, very difficult topic, especially when I'm not from the island myself. It's more about my parents. But me trying to connect back to my roots, I learned a lot about the history behind the island, and it got me. connected with loads of people from different communities. For example, my mum is Sinhalese and my dad is Tamil, and I never really understood the difference between those two. Like growing up, I never really know anything about it, and I was very naive 2 years ago when I said, "Oh, like I love the idea of bringing all of these communities together." And by talking to so many different people from these different communities, I learned how all of this it is actually possible if everything's worded correctly, if the mission is proper. You can definitely create this way. And I love the idea of running around the lab and picking different areas where different communities are located and saying that this is where this run club's going to be and this is where the next one's going to be. And I love the idea of the retreats being people coming back to see these run clubs that we've built together, because this run is frankly not about just myself. It's about bringing everyone together, and that's why I'm trying to bring different communities together, work with as many different businesses as possible, because that's the only way where you can push that idea out. I can't do it by myself. You can only do it by getting people involved. Relationships, I feel like I've had to turn down loads of relationships with friends, family, just so I can fully focus on doing this myself. And that's a difficult thing, especially when you're at uni, everyone's going out, everyone's having fun, and sometimes you have to put down that fun to really focus. And I would say when I first got into it, it was very difficult, but now I don't really see it as a problem. I see it as a sacrifice that I'm making for the bigger mission. I'm still not disciplined. Disciplined, you work on it every single day. It's a difficult thing. You have days where you're not as disciplined, and you have days where you are disciplined, where you're doing the things that you have to do, and that's the beauty of it. You work on it every single day, and I discipline is a big thing that I'm still trying to work on. If I live every day by trying to work on improving myself every day, I know the discipline will come. You just have to acknowledge that sometimes you're going to have off days, sometimes you're going to have a good day, but when you have that off day, you need to bounce back and do it, and that's the consistency. That's important. And if anyone is trying to get into discipline, trying to find that big purpose, then they need to realize that to find that big purpose, you need to understand that that purpose is yourself. Where if you're not the best version of yourself, or you're not working on the best version of yourself, how are you going to find that big purpose to help others if you're not the best version of yourself? I never worked at Help Bank, so I was part of their community for the last 3 years or so. And I was 18. I saw this guy going around asking their people's their dreams, and I got myself into the same event as Simon Squibb. And after he did his talk, I sneaked myself into the same lift as him, and I managed to have a 2 minute conversation with him. And it was very cool because I asked him, "How do you find purpose?" And all he told me was, he asked me how old I was. I said I was 18. And then he said, "You're going to find this incredible that you're thinking about purpose at your age." And hearing someone at that status, at that age, um, like telling me to keep going, improving what I'm doing, was like a switch for me to keep working on myself, keep working on it, and eventually you'll figure it out. And those 3 years being around those people, being around people that want to generally help each other and improve each other, and just good energy about them, is what has brought me to the level I am now. Being around like-minded people was a big thing for my development, I feel like. It's more about I'm. It's very funny because I got into long distance training not recently. Recently, sorry, and it's a whole different world. It's more about how your body adapts to the running, how you do your recovery, your nutrition, your base running. Like it's loads of things I'm still learning to this day, and it's fun. It's very fun. A big thing for me that we're working on. We're not sure if this run is going to be 30 days. It'll probably be longer, where we spend a couple of days where I'm resting and at the same time exploring the island, because the documentary is a big thing that I have for this run. And if we can get more content of myself connecting back with my roots, and if that means holding back on the running so I can connect with communities properly, that's a risk that I'm happy to take, because this run is not about a world record. It's not about like personal achievement. It's more about pushing the narrative that I have behind my brand, behind the goals that I have. I will have a crew with me. I'll have the videographers. I'll have people helping me with content. I'm gonna have someone supporting me with my nutrition, giving me the electrolytes that I need, because as I said, this run is not possible by myself. There's no way I can do this run by myself, because it would not push out the idea that I have. It's more about bringing people together, and if I want to bring people together, I need to be having a strong team with me to do all of this. The southern west area, no, the southern east area, there's a massive jungle there. It's a safari. That's going to be interesting, because apparently we can't go around the coastline in that area. I'm going to have to cut in and come back out. It's quite worrying, because there's apparently loads of jaguars around there. I don't know if leopards, sorry. So that's going to be interesting. And a friend of mine, he ran across Sri Lanka like a year ago, and he told me how he had to hold off a whole day of running because a jaguar, a leopard was spotted in the area. So that's gonna be funny. But that's part of the island, so they just gotta embrace it. I mean, I can do some heat running here. Maybe at some point I do need to do that. It's more about electrolytes. I'll be sweating a lot, so I need to make sure I put those electrolytes back in me to help me with the heat. But I will be starting my runs at 5 a.m., trying to aim to finish at 3 p.m. So that's the decent running before the peak hot comes in between 11 till 3. So it's not a full-on partnership yet. We're still discussing. They send me some products, and I have a big mission of getting these big brands back into the island. I would love to get these brands like Garmin to be involved in the run clubs, where they can offer our kit to help with making these run clubs. I just we're still like in talks with that. I'm still trying to figure out how all of this will look, and that's the part of it. Like, I'm documenting everything. That sometimes you think that this partnership has happened, this has happened, but everything is still on work, and that's why I'm trying to document everything. Because if someone sees me documenting everything, I'll want them to get inspired to do that thing. 60. I Every week I go between 60 to 70 to 80 kilometers. I like to play loads of paddle, some racket sports, so I like to put that in as well. And I go to the gym as well. I do one upper session, one leg session, and one knee strengthening session per week. And nutrition is a very big thing that I'm still like struggling with and balancing with, like getting enough carbs in my body. But no, it feels really good. It's fun. It's very fun. Loads of carb heavy stuff: pasta, rice, wraps, pitas. Bagels are very good with carbs. I eat loads of bananas. Bananas are very good for you. Just very basic stuff, whole food stuff, nothing processed. That's why I like to keep my diet. Try to, at least. Well, I had to move to Winchester anyways, because I had to go. I go uni here, which I finished now, and I wanted to like that was a big thing. I have to sacrifice those relationships in the last 2 years, where I've had to more focus on myself and focus more on the things that I have to do. So if I was at home, I wouldn't be able to focus properly on the training, the building out content. So me being alone here is what's allowed me to fully focus. A yearly marathon in Sri Lanka that's aimed towards bringing people together and pushing out the idea of the voice I wish I had. For British teenager, do that thing. That's it. Just do the thing that you always wanted to do but didn't, because you were scared of people judging you, fear of you failing. Because every failure brings you into it's good for you. Every failure is good for you. It will shape you into being the person that you are. I feel like it's not more about the identity, it's more about me finding that identity in a way. So I've never had the identity, but me doing this run, the documentary, it's going to allow me to learn a lot about the island. And that's where I'm going to find that identity because I like to say that I'm Italian and British, but I'm not really sure what like being Sri Lankan is because I've never fully been there by myself alone. Well, if I really focus on content whilst I'm running, if I focus on getting the mission that I have out there, the reason why I'm doing this run is because it's a crazy idea, right? This guy coming back into the island to do this run, to build these run clubs. It's people are very interested in attention grabbing stuff, and I'm grabbing people's attention by doing this run and using the attention into something purposeful, and that's what will make people interested in it. I've talked to loads of people that have done long distance running like this, and the reason why I love running is because you decide when to stop. I don't care because that's it's not about the running for me. It's more about what I'm building. And if I've inspired someone else to run the island, that's a win for me because someone's looked at what I'm doing and decided to do it, and that's sick. And being able to show people how sick it is to find your why, and saying to people that I've continued doing this running because I found my purpose, the why behind what I'm doing. That's gonna show how important it is to have that behind your life, behind the business that you're building, behind your content. And I'm showing it by doing this one.